Before we go on to our next lesson, we're going to review lesson 4, which was ratio and proportion. So we learned the definition of ratio and proportion, and the two of them are different from each other. Ratio is a comparison between two numbers, and they can be written in three ways, which is x to y, x and then a symbol, two dots, and y, or x over y as a fraction. Proportion is when an equation stating that two ratios are equal. So we have two examples showing ratios. This set, we have a half and 8 over 16. They are proportional because they share the same factor 8. So we multiplied 8 on the top and the bottom to give you the proportional ratio of 8 over 16. Whereas 3/4, 3 over 4, and 9 over 16 are not proportional because in order to multiply the top, you use 3, and for the bottom is 4. You need to have the same number, same factor to multiply in order to make this ratio proportional to the other one. So 3 over 4 and 9 over 16 are not proportional. And the last that you learned was if the cross products are equivalent, then the ratio form a proportion. So this is where you use cross multiplication in order to make the ratio proportional to each other. So we have a few examples just for practice dealing with the cross products and using cross multiplication. So let me get to the pen. Alright, so the first one, you would do cross multiplication, but if you were looking at this, that 4 to, you find out what number you need to multiply from 4 to get you to x, look at 5 to 20. What did you multiply? 4. So then 4 times 4 will give you 16. So then x equals 16. Or if you were to cross multiply, you would have done 5x, and then 4 times 20, 80, and then when you divided 5 on both sides, you would have gotten x as 16. This one, you would have to, unless you're really good and figure out how to get from 7 to 3, what you divided to get to that, then you'll be able to use it for 4. But in this case, let's cross multiply. So we have, that's the symbol that I use. So 7a equals, and this gives you 12. You divide 7 on both sides, and then your a will equal, you know, you'll get a fraction for this. Oops, let's try that again. 12 divided by 7, that'll give you 1.714, but you could just leave it as a fraction. Or you can turn it into a mixed number, whichever works. So let me box this one and that. For this one, remember when you have an expression, put the parentheses first. I'm going to do that over here too. And then you cross multiply. So that way you will only do n 3 times n and ignore the 4. And then this one's 7n. So distribution. And then you combine like terms. So you're going to bring this over here by subtracting. Get 12 equals 4n. Divide 4 on both sides. And then you get n equals 3. And then for the last one, which I just extend this one, same thing as number 3. Just cross multiply. You did a distribution property. Subtract 27 on both sides. And this one will give you negative 23. And then you just divide. And k will equal negative 23 over 9. You could turn it into a mixed number if you want to. But the improper fraction, that's fine. So let me move this. So yeah. So that all matches up. So notice how you can turn 12 over 7 to 1 and 5/7, and this one negative 2 over 5, negative 2 5/9. Either way, same thing. Alright, so our next lesson is dealing with, it's a continuation with continuation of ratio and proportion, but we're doing ratio word problems. So objective is how do we define and compare continued ratios and solve word problems. So a continued ratio is a comparison of three or more quantities in a definite order. So for example, they have the ratio of the measures of the length, width, and height of a rectangular solid is 75 to 60 to 45, or 5 to 4 to 3 in the simplest form. So if you were to reduce this would give you the simplest form of this continued ratio. Now we're going to use this in order to solve problems. So basically finding what the measurements would be for either a room, an object, whatever it is. Move on to the next one. Okay, so make sure I didn't skip anything. So this one says any pair of numbers in a ratio. So this is just using another example. Any pair of numbers in a ratio of 3 to 5 can be found by multiplying 3 and 5 by the same non-zero number. So this is how I broke it down. So I'm trying to show that the 3 times whatever number I choose and 5 times the same number I chose for 3x is equal to the ratio of 3 over 5. So I said that I let x equals 3. So now I plug in wherever the x, I put 3, multiply 3 to this ratio, and then I got 9 over 15. So that means this 9 over 15 is in proportion to 3 over 5. And as you can see, I did the cross multiplying and I got 45 equal 45, showing me that this is in proportion. So we're going to deal with word problems where they're going to give us the ratio, they're going to give us a total, and then we have to find what that missing variable is and the new numbers that will be in proportion to the ratio that they gave us. It may sound confusing, but when we do the problems, you'll understand what's going on. Okay, so for the first one, it says the perimeter of a triangle is 60 feet. If the sides are in the ratio of 3 to 4 to 5, find the length of each side of the triangle. Right, so first thing we need to do was read it. And now the second, we just have to figure out what they gave us and what they're asking us to look for. So this one says the perimeter. So perimeter, you know, means you're adding up all sides. They gave us the perimeter, which is 60 feet. So I'm going to put P equals 60 feet. They said if the sides of are in the ratio of 3 to 4 to 5, find the length of each side of the triangle. So I'm going to draw the triangle. I use the shape. So I've got the triangle. And actually I'm going to move this out of the way because I'm going to use it. And pen. So that means we've got 3 to 4 to 5. And the perimeter is 60. So that means I have to find out what they want us to find the lengths of the sides of this triangle based on this ratio. That means I need to find, and I'm going to put it in red, I need to find that missing variable that I'm going to multiply to each side that will add up to 60. But it will be in ratio with this 3 to 4 to 5. So I'm going to fill in, so 4x, 3x, and 5x. And I'm going to add it to 60. So once I do that, now I can combine the like terms. This will give me 12x equals 60. Divide by 12. And my x will equal 5. But I'm not done yet. I found the x, the common factor did I multiply to each side? Now I need to find the length. That's the last piece and the missing piece that we're looking for. So once I do that, once I find my x, I'm going to plug it back into the sides. So I got 3 times 5, 4 times 5, and 5 times 5. So this will give me 15, this will give me 20, and this will give me 25. So I'll just put 15 on this side, this will be 20 on this side, and then this is 25. So when I add all of this up together, this will give me 60. So these two gives me 40, 40 and 20, 60. So that's how you would work a problem dealing with the ratio that they give you. They'll give you a total, you have the ratio, basically you just put whatever the ratio and put x or whatever variable you want to use. If you say 3n plus 4n plus 5n, equal it to the total they give you, solve for the variable, then plug it back in. So plug it back in. And then find your numbers. Okay. So we're going to do a few examples of this. And of course label, because they gave you a label. Forgot to do that. Alright. Let's do this. Alright, they say two numbers have a ratio of 2 to 3. The larger is 30 more than half of the smaller. Find the numbers. Alright, so this is dealing with translating from verbal to algebraic. We know we have two numbers, and the ratio is 2 to 3. The larger is 30 more than the smaller. So the smaller would be this, the larger would be this. So let's put the smaller of the ratio is 2, and the larger is going to be 3. So now we have to translate this. So the larger, which is 3, is 30 more than half of the smaller. So the smaller will be 2x. The larger is going to be 30 more, so we know that's plus, than half of the smaller. We already have the smaller, so it would be half the small, and the more plus 30. So find the numbers. So now we need to find our x's. So it's in ratio. So 2 to 3 equal 2x over a half 2x plus 30. So we're going to cross multiply. And I'm going to use another pen. So I'm cross multiplying. So I'm going to have 6x equals, then 2 times, but before I even do that, I'm going to put 2, and then I'm going to simplify. So this one, 2x divided by 2 will give me x, 1x, and then plus 30. And then I'm going to do the distributive property. Bring this down, 2x plus 60. Then I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. 4x equals 60. Then divide by 4. And then I'll put that, I'll put it here. X equals 15. They want us to find the numbers, so that means we're going to plug it back in. So for this one, the smaller was 2x, so 2x and 2 times 15, which gives me 30. And then the larger which was half the smaller. So I'm just going to write what I had originally and then just plug in my information. Half the smaller so now that means this was 30. Half of 30 gives me 15. 15 plus 30, 45. And I'm going to just circle the answer in another color. So the larger is 45 and the smaller is 30. That seemed a bit complicated, but again, it's a matter of knowing what they gave you, how to set it up, how to translate it into an algebraic expression, and then use the ratio, the proportions to solve the cross multiplying, stuff like that. Some might be easy, straightforward, where you just add up to a total. Others, you have to set up a proportion. This was a bit challenging, but again, everything that you learned from the previous lesson, you're just applying it using word problems. Okay, next one. Two numbers are in the ratio of 4 to 3. Their sum, so that means you're going to have adding and it's going to be the total, is 70. Find the numbers. So you have 4x plus 3x equals 70. You just set it up and then solve. Your x will equal 10, but that's just the number that you're multiplying to the ratio. Now you have to find the numbers after you multiply that number, that common number. So 4x, that gives you 40, and then 3x is 3 times 10 gives you 30. So your numbers are 30 and 40. Oh, let's do the next one. Find two numbers whose sum is 160 and have a ratio of 5 to 3. So 5x plus 3x equals 160. Add it up and then divide. Gives you your x, and now you're going to plug it in. So we had 5x and we had 3x. 5 times 20, 100, and then 3 times 20 is 60. And you know that those two, 60, actually I should put that. So if you had 3 to 5 is in proportion to 60 over 100 because you multiply the 20 to get from 3 to 60 and 5 to 100. So that just serves as a check to make sure that you're going in the right direction. Okay, now this one is different. They say two numbers are in ratio of 5 to 7. Their difference is 12. Difference means subtracting. So 7x minus 5x equals 12. So you subtract, and then divide 2 on both sides, which give you 6. But now you need to plug it back in and see what your numbers are based on the ratio 7 to 5. So that's 7, 6, and then I got 5 and 6. So this will be 42, and then the other one will be 30. So if you were to subtract those two, you would get 12, and it's in proportion. So for 7 to 5 is equal to 30 Oops, mistake with that one, undo. So 7 to 5, 42 to 30. It's basically multiplying 6 to get to that new ratio. Okay, next one. So we have two numbers whose ratio is 4 to 1 and whose difference is 36. So again, subtraction. I'm going to just put x. If you put 1x, it's the same thing. This would be 3x. And then you divide by 3, and your x is equal to 12. And then you're going to plug it in to the ratio. So you got 4x, 4 times 12, 48. And then you got x, which was 12. Okay, so the next one, a piece of wire is 32 centimeters in length and is divided into parts that are in a ratio of 3 to 5. Find the length of each part. So you have a piece of wire, total is 32, and it's divided 3 to 5, so 3 to 5. So now you need to find out what this piece is and then what this piece is. So you set it up. So you got 3x plus 5x equals 32. Got 8x divided by 8. X is equal to 4. And now you plug it in back to the ratios. So then you have 3 times 4 and then 5 times 4. So this is 12 and this is 20. So that means this is 12 and this is 20. So if you were to add that, it gives you 32. And it's in ratio, in proportion to 3 to 5. Oops. Actually, let me nail that. There you go. Alright, so now we have a side of a triangle whose ratio is 6 to 6 to 5. Can you make that triangle? And I got 6 to 6 to 5. And the perimeter, P equals 34 centimeters. Find the length of each side of the triangle. Again, you're going to do 6x plus 6x plus 5x equals 34. Combine your like terms, that gives you 17x equals 34. You divide it by 17, and that gives you 2. And now you need to plug it in. So I'm going to put the x, 6x, 6x, 5x. Alright, so now 6 times 2. I just put it twice because I know there's 3 sides. So this would be 12 centimeters. This would be 12 also centimeters, and 10 centimeters. There you go. So as a reminder, during this video, if you're still confused, you can always pause, go back, take it slowly, and then catch up to us. If you're still having confusion, you can always email me and I can help you to clarify what issues you're having with this lesson. Right, so this one, it says the ratio of the number of boys in a school to the number of girls is 11 to 10. So I'm going to put boys to girl. So anytime you see they're saying that they give you 2 or 3 objects and they give you the ratio goes in the same order as the objects that they gave you. So the boys is for 11, and then girls, which is the second, will be the second number 10. So 11 to 10. There are 525 students in the school. So I'm going to put the total, which is 525. How many of them are boys? So we're just looking for the boys, not the girls. So now we set it up, so we know that 11x plus 10x equals 525. The x is going to represent the number that we need to multiply to get to our ratio, to our equivalent ratio, in order to find the total of boys and girls. So then together that would be 21x equals 525. Divide 21, and then let's see, 525 divided by 21, 25. So that's our common number, and now we need to multiply it. So what I'm going to do it here. 25, and that's going to be for the boys, and then the girls, 10 times 25. So 11 times 25, 275 boys, and then the girls, they asked for boys, but I'll just do the girls also. So let me see, yep, so now your answer would be 275 boys, because that's what they asked you for. Don't give me the girls. If they didn't ask you for the girls, don't give me the girls. Okay, next one. Perimeter of a triangle. Again, if it helps you to draw, do it. This one, they gave you the perimeter is 48 centimeters. They find, and the lengths of the sides are in a ratio of 3 to 4 to 5. Find the length of each side. So you know 3x plus 4x plus 5x equals 48. That goes all up, gives you 12x equals 48. Divide by 12. We have 4 for x. So we plug that in. So I'm going to just put that here. Plug it in. 3 times 4, 12. We got 4 times 4, 16. And then 5 times 4, 20 in centimeters. Okay. So we got a rectangle that they're saying. So perimeter of a rectangle is 360 centimeters. If the ratio of the length to its width is 11 to 4, find the dimension of the rectangles. Okay, this is where some mistakes usually happen. So, oops, shape. I'm going to draw the rectangle. And I'm going to label it. So we know that a rectangle has 4 sides. We say the length to width. So the length is 11, and then let's say the width is 4. And I'm going to put the x's because we're dealing with the ratio. And then they said the perimeter, so that means you're going to add up all the sides, is 360 centimeters. All right. Now we're going to make the equation in order to find x. First step. But you have to realize, this is what I usually see. 11x plus 4x equals 360. Now, when you do that, you're telling me that a rectangle has 2 sides. And it doesn't. There's 4 of them. So that means you have this one is also 11, this one's 4. And I'll put the x. And you're doing the perimeter. You have to add up all the sides. There are 4 sides. 2 of them are the length, 2 of them are the width. So if you don't do that, you're going to get a different answer. And I've seen that where students add up just the 2 sides, the length and the width, and add it up to the perimeter. Wrong. So you should have, since there's two widths, two lengths, you have 11x, 2 times 11x, plus 2 times 4x, you equal it to 360. And it doesn't matter how many times I'm going to say this, some of you might fall into that same trap and not realizing that you need to add up all the sides, which are 4 sides, and end up doing 2 sides. So we're going to have 22x, and we have 8x equals 360. This will be 30x equals 360. Divide 30 on both sides. And then 12 will equal, x will equal 12. But we're not done. We need to plug that into our length and width. Since we have the same length and same width, I'm just going to do this once. So this one will give me 132 equal 132 centimeters. And then this will give me 48 for the width centimeters. And I'll put length abbreviated and then width. So the dimensions are 132 for the length and 48 for the width. Okay, so be careful. This is one of those problems where most students mess up because they just add up the 2 sides rather than all 4 sides. Okay, next one. The ratio of the The ratio of the measures of 2 complementary angles is 2 to 3. Find the measure of each angle. Okay, complementary, supplementary. You may have learned this during middle school with angles. Complementary means 90 degrees. Supplementary means 180. So we have the ratio of the 2 measures, the measure of 2 complementary angles, 2 to 3. So we're going to do 2x plus 3x equals 90. And you know what? I'm going to draw a picture of an angle. And I have that. And I'm going to label it so that way you can understand where these numbers are coming from. So 90-degree angle, so this is a right angle, complementary. So this would be 2x and 3x. So you need to find the numbers that you add up to give you the 90. And it has to be in ratio with 2 to 3. So then this would be 5x equals 90. You divide the 5 on both sides, and then you divide the 5 on both sides, and then you get 18. Now you can plug in. So 2 times 18 give you 36 degrees, because we're dealing with angles. And then 3 times 18, 54 degrees. And those are your 2 angles that add up and give you the 90. So remember, complementary, 90, supplementary is 180. And since we're talking about supplementary, there you go. Supplementary, 180. That means the 2 angles will add up to 180. So I'm going to draw that. And then have my line. So there we go. And I'm just going to put the arrows because it's a line. And then, so it says the ratio of the measures of 2 supplementary angles is 4 to 5. So this is 4x, this is 5x. And I know that supplementary, the angle's 180. And they want us to find the measure of each angle. So 4x plus 5x equals 180. We've got 9x equals 180. Divide 9 on both sides. And then you're going to get 20. Now you need to plug it back in to the ratios. So 4 times 20, and then 5 times 20. So this will give you 80 degrees. We're dealing with angles. And this is 100. Notice that these two add up to give you 180. And it's in ratio to 4 to 5. Alright, next one. Alright, got the triangle here. So in triangle DEF, I'm going to label that. So this is DEF. The ratio of the measures of the three angles is 2 to 2 to 5. So 2 to 2 to 5. Find the measures of the angles. Alright, so I'm going to expand this. Find the measure, and I know that I have to find that common number that I need to multiply to get the measure of the angles. Oops, I did something wrong. Let me erase this. Oh, try again. Erase. We're dealing with angles. I put it on the side, which I shouldn't have. So be careful. We're doing angles. So I'm going to have 2 to 2 to 5. Be careful. See, I made that mistake too. Alright, so now, before we even set it up, we know that a triangle has how many degrees? There's 180 degrees for a triangle. So that means we can add up all the angles. There's 3 angles in a triangle and add it up to 180. So 2x, since there's 2 of them, I'm going to put 2 times 2x plus 5x equals 180. So 4x plus 5x, then 9x, divide 9 on both sides, and I'm going to get 20. Alright, now I need to still continue because I have to find the measure of the angles. So 2x, 20, so that'll be 40, and then 5 times 20 be 100. So that means this is going to be 100, this is going to be 40, and this is going to be 40. So when we add them all up, it's going to be 180. So we did that, and I want to know what kind of triangle is this. If you can remember back to the different types of triangle, we usually have a triangle that doesn't have the same angle, same side. There's another one that has all equal sides, call that equilateral triangle. Then we have triangles that have the two same angles and 2 same sides. Isosceles. Isosceles triangle has 2 congruent, 2 equal sides and 2 equal angles. Okay, so we have another one. Make this bigger. So it says that in a triangle, 2 sides have the same length. So I'm going to put this mark. This mark tells me that these two sides are congruent. They're the same. And then the ratio of the sides to the third is 5 to 3. So let's look at this again. The ratio of each of the sides to the third side is 5 to 3. So we remember the order. So the sides is first, so that means 5. And then to the third side, 3. And then we're going to have the x's there. Alright, so now they said that if the perimeter is 65 inches, which I'm going to put in the middle of the triangle, find the lengths of each side of the triangle. Find the lengths. That's when you're going to find all of them. So I'm going to put it here, 5x. Since there's 2 of them, I'm just going to put times 2 plus 3x equals 65. 10x plus 3x equals 65. Then I get 13x equals 65. Divide by 13. and then 65 divided by 13. Oops. 65 divided by 13 gives us 5 for x. Now we need to plug it back in. So 5 times 5, 25. And then 3 times 5 equals 15. So this would be 25. This is 25. And this is 15. And of course you need to put your label. And there you go. Like I said, remember, if you're stuck, you still are confused, email me and I'll clarify it for you. So now we have two numbers that are in ratio of 3 to 7. The larger exceeds the smaller by 12. So 3 is the smaller, and then 7 is going to be the larger. So then we have 3, and I'm going to use green for the x. Alright, so now I did just do that because just to get into the habit that we have to turn into something x. Pen. So now they say the larger exceeds the smaller by 12. Find the numbers. So they're in ratio. So we got 3 over 7 equals, the smaller will just stay as 3x, and then the larger exceeds. Exceeds means plus the smaller by 12. So the larger exceeds the smaller by 12. So we're going to have 7x plus 3x. Sorry, 12 plus 7x, 3x. Actually, let me make sure. Let me erase that. I want to make sure that I had that correct. All right. Let me erase this one. Oops. I set it up wrong, so let me do that again. Get my pen. So I got the ratio. Okay, so we got 7x. So the larger, 7x equals, so it exceeds the smaller by 12. So the smaller, sorry, 3x plus 12. Then I move this, subtracted from both sides. Gives me 4x equals 12, and then I divide it by 4. Sorry about that hiccup. So it's supposed to be like this. And then you plug it in. So got the 3x and then 7 times 3, that'll be 9. That one's 21. So then if you were to put it into, use another color, so we have the larger number, so we got 21, and then the smaller exceeds the smaller by 12, so the smaller by 12, so then it'd be 9 plus 12, which would give you that 21. So I know the wording is confusing. So basically it's just saying that exceed is plus, so the smaller by 12. So that's mean the small will be added by the 12 will be added to the smaller one. And it's just saying, it's just showing the comparison between the larger and the smaller. But again, this wording is really weird. You're not going to come across something like that. So you got 9 and 12. And then the last one. So it says, in a basketball foul shooting contest, The points made by Denise and Ashley were in the ratio 7 to 9. Ashley made 6 more points than Denise, so find the number of points made by each. So let's put, since they, again, remember the order, Denise and Ashley, so it's basically 7 to 9. Denise is first, she gets a 7, and then Ashley, second number. So D n over A, so I'm going to do 7 over 9. And then they say that Ashley made, so I'm going to put that equal, Ashley made 6 more points than Denise. We don't know what Denise did, how many points she had, so it's X, and Ashley is 6 more, which is plus. Now you're going to cross multiply. Cross multiply. Distribute. And then you're going to subtract 7x on both sides. Divide 2 on both sides. And then you're going to get x equals 21. And now you're going to plug it back in. I should have used another color, right? Or I'll just use green. Alright, so now we're dealing with the 7 to 9. So first, Denise is 21 points. I'll put 21p. And then for Ashley, 21 plus that will be 27p for Ashley. So it would be in proportion to 7 to 9. So 21 and 27, simply multiplying by 3. This might be a little bit confusing because, again, I did not use the X. Let me select that. But when you're dealing with a ratio like that, if they give you a ratio and then there's no total, because if you can go back, if there's like no total, like for example, like when they give you a perimeter where you just put X and then you set it up, if they don't give you something like that, or with angles, I'm trying to see if there's something else we did, mostly of them were perimeter. And this one had a total. So if there's no total, if there is a total, then you could do it like this, where you have the number X plus whatever number X and then set it equal to each other. But if you have one where they don't give you a total, they just tell you, okay, this person did more points than that person, then you set it up as a proportion. And then you get your answer. So the only time when you see total, then you put like 7x plus 9x equals whatever. No totals, then you set it up as a proportion. It's a bit confusing, but like you have to do a lot of this and then recognize when to do it and when not to do it. If you still have confusion with that, like I said, I can provide you with other examples so that way you can clearly understand. Alright, so just a recap, since we are at the end of this lesson, and it was a very long one. We learned about continued ratios, it's basically a comparison of 3 or more quantities in a definite order. So we had, example, if they give you the order length to width to height, then that means the first one, length, 75 goes to that, 60 goes to the width, and 45 goes to the height. And when you're trying to find that common number, I would say, like in this example, the common number, that's when you would put X. So for the first one where they gave us the perimeter and they want us to find the length of it based on the ratio, we do 3x plus 4x plus 5x equal to the total, find the x, then plug it back in to the terms with the x's to find our number. Okay, so like I said, if you have any confusions, any problems with this lesson, email me. I will help you out. And on that note, this is the end of our lesson. Have a good day.